gone and one day, what kind of progression have you seen with the quarterbacks, first of all?
Not near where we need to be, not near at a championship level, but certainly making some strides in some areas, but not even close to where we need to be at this time. We got a long way to go.
What concerns you the most?
Nothing concerns me. Just we got a long way to go. There's no concerns. It's just part of the process. So every day we got to come out here and get better. We got to get better, get better, get better, get better, and better with our fundamentals and techniques. Get better with learning the offense. Get better with learning the defensive identification. It's not a concern. It's just that's part of the process, and we're in the middle of the process right now.
With the scrimmage coming up on Saturday, is there a little bit even more of a sense of urgency, or are you seeing a sense of urgency?
No, there's a sense of urgency every time we come out here. There's from the coaching staff down to the players. Every day out here is game day. It's the same sense of urgency every single day. We come out here for practice. It's game day. Whether we're in shorts, whether we're in shells, whether we're in full pads, you can't play quarterback and not have a sense of urgency about everything that you do on every single play, because it's just not going to help you get better. So got to continue to have that mindset every time we come out here.
Have you seen that mindset from them?
Yeah, they're working very hard. Yeah, absolutely.
You said not where you need to be, but from the start, has there been progress? And if so, is it just there hasn't been enough progress?
Yes, there has been progress. As I mentioned earlier, there's been progress. We're getting better. We're just not where we need to be at this point. We're not, almost halfway through spring practice. We've got 3 scrimmages coming up. Those will obviously be important days, but more importantly than those scrimmages, every day to me is a scrimmage. Every day to the staff is a scrimmage, and we got to continue to get better. And again, that's why we have spring ball. That's why we have the off season in the summer. But again, we have a long way to go, and we just got to continue to work through the process to get there.
Are there specific areas you can address that where you think there's more progress needed than other, or you have a long way to go?
Fundamentals and techniques, learning our system, and also defensive identification, I think, are the biggest areas.
Dan, how deep are you into your install?
Pardon me?
How deep are you into what you'll ultimately install?
50%, 60%.
Heard you working with the wide receivers. You said they're working their breaks. It's something like express yourself like it's a new dance move out there. You like them having fun and being creative when they're on the field trying to get open?
Well, we can be creative in certain situations, on certain concepts and certain routes, and certainly we have a lot of adjustable routes with options involved in those routes, and on those we certainly want to give them the leeway to try to create separation. From my experiences, we get a group of receivers on that route, for example, and maybe you might not find 10 that can do it, you know what I mean? But you might find 2 or 3 that can do it really, really well, and then it's our job as coaches to put them in those situations in order to execute that route.
Hey Dan, any inclination to maybe go live with hitting with the quarterbacks at all this spring in the scrimmages?
That's a Coach Diaz question, and it has not come up yet at this point.
Coach, how's Tate looking now? He's in this one. What's he doing well, or how has he progressed?
Again, he's like all of them. They're getting better in some areas. I think Tate is much more comfortable with the terminology than he was early. He's thrown the ball pretty effectively the last couple days, and we're really working with his eyes in the pocket, his eyes and his feet and his posture, and he drifts around on his drops a lot. And there's not a real distinct set of timing in his drops, and it's something that's new for him, and he's got to learn how to transition what we're asking him to do with his feet, and do it during team situations when I'm not standing there with him telling him to do it every day.
And
Dan, you
Jared?
said a big part of the competition is the competition within the room, even film study, stuff like that. Is that areas also that they need to get better at?
As far as what?
That group, is competition factor, is that another area they need to get better at, just competing against one another, maybe in the film room as well as out in the field?
It's when you play quarterback, one guy plays, so there's competition every day you walk over here. I mean, that's part of the deal. I've certainly tried to give them the tools, and every day, as I mentioned here before, I'm trying to teach them how to be a quarterback, not only on the field but off the field as well. And a lot of that has to do with their preparation and their mindset on a daily basis. We have things that we go through every day, every couple days in there, where I teach them things about leadership, things about self-expectancy, about self-image, about just certain things that we talk about, and I try to share every experience that I can with these guys. Hopefully, and I think a lot of them, I think they're listening, and I think they're starting to realize that it takes more than just having a good arm and being a good athlete to be a good quarterback. It takes a lot more than that. It takes dedication every single day, and it takes commitment every day to do it. And there's a lot of areas, but I think we're taking strides in that area. I'm not saying they're perfect, they're not, but certainly I do see guys that have shown the willingness to put in the work on their own, and they're going to have to continue to do that because it's not easy to be a great quarterback. It is a very, very difficult thing to do, man. And I don't know what more to say, and I've told them this. The first day I walked in with them and met with them, I told them it's the hardest position in any sport to play. We ask so much of them, out of them. They got the ball in their hands every play. They got to make decisions in run game, pass game, RPOs. They got to understand clock management. They got to understand situations, down and distance situations, momentum changes. I mean, they've got to be, I tell them you got to have the mind of a coach and the game of a player. A great quarterback has the mind of a coach and the game of a player. And this is a process and a thing that it occurs every single day they come over here. And with that, there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be peaks and valleys. And we've had some peaks out here with each guy, and we've had some valleys out here with each guy too, where they had a rough set or a rough day or a rough half the day or whatever those things are. So again, we got to teach them everything. We got to teach them how to respond to adversity. How to deal with it, how to handle it, bounce back from a bad play, bounce back from a bad series, bounce back from a bad practice. But on the flip side of that, here's what's really, really important with this position. How do you handle success too? That's something that no one talks about. Is that if you do put together 2 or 3 plays, now how do you guard against overconfidence, complacency? I had a good practice last Tuesday. I'm not going to watch extra film. But when they have a bad practice and they do all that stuff, you know what I mean? So it's got to be a routine, something they do every single day, and they get it in their DNA that's how they're going to prepare and how they're going to practice every day. And again, I'm in the process of trying to teach them how to do it, and I do think they're responding. I do think they're coming along. But certainly, 7 days into it, we're not where we need to be. But certainly, we've seen signs. I've seen signs from all 3 of them that they have ability, and they have competitiveness, and they have intelligence, and they have toughness. So we're just going to continue to keep grinding and keep building and continue through the process on a daily basis.
Can you
Great,
talk
thank
a
you,
little
Coach.
specifically about
Last question for Coach Enos.
Just Jaron, a little bit about him and Nkosi, so we have something.
Yeah, they both have been up and down a little bit. Jaron's come out here, he's made some terrific throws, and then he's had some situations where he's had some mental lapses as well. And then like Nkosi, what's today? Tuesday? On Saturday, he had his best day. On Saturday, Nkosi had a great day. He graded very high. I saw poise. I saw a passer. I saw a guy get through his progression. You know what I mean? And then today, we got to watch the tape, but I think he had a little bit of a step back today. But certainly, these things are expected. But I've seen good out of all 3 of them. And again, we just got to keep grinding. And again, I don't mean to say this like I'm like, Mr. Competitive or Mr. Know-It-All. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we have very high standards. I have very high standards for them, and we're gonna try to correct everything they do, because at the end of the day, we're gonna try to get whoever's under center to get that to be the best product we can possibly be and get him